parents want me to come over for dinner.
Oh, you see, there you go.
She's like, when can you come over for dinner? My parents want to have
I
you
can hear you. Our conversation is about staying calm. That does not sound like
I thought, this
graduation.
conversation that we're having is not about staying calm.
Is Tracy coming?
It's about,
Yeah, I can.
shoot, I better log in.
Hello? I can. Sorry, nobody said anything to me, so I was just at my desk typing. I looked up and it was 7:45.
Okay.
Now all of Facebook is heard. Yeah, you don't need a pep talk.
Huh? Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to After GMS on this Thursday, May 12th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Ed Matthews, Ben Briscoe, and Christian Morgan.
Morning.
Two live crew, as you termed us yesterday. That's my favorite one, for sure. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited you are here with us. And we are excited not about the weather.
I am.
You are? You want
Yeah.
colder?
No, I don't necessarily want colder, but I don't want storms.
Okay.
And this time last week we were preparing for like
Ooh, you're right.
bad storms.
Yeah.
Right.
Look
Wake
at you in the
up.
bright side.
This is a
Ta-da.
much,
Silver line and Tracy.
much better forecast at this time this week than it was last week.
See?
Yeah.
There's always a silver lining, right? There's always a silver lining. All right, let's take a live look outside this morning. Beautiful morning in the Triad. Of course, we do have some clouds moving in pretty quickly. It's still a totally sunny morning up in Boone, up at Kid Brewer Stadium at App State. We do have the clouds thickening up as we go throughout the day. Now, temperatures are pretty comfortable out the door, upper 50s to near 60 out the door in Greensboro, Winston, Asheboro, Lexington. Of course, we have low and mid 50s in the Wilkesboros and up into the foothills as well. Of course, they haven't had as many clouds as we have this morning either, so that helps them to cool down a little bit more. Of course, if we zoom it out on a wider view, kind of an interesting temperature map to look at here. We have warmth building out over the middle of the country. At the same time, we're still cool here on the East Coast. Reason for that being that big coastal low we've been talking about is causing issues along the Outer Banks, giving us a return flow on the backside of that, which means you have our wind out of the north. So it cools us down a bit. Also with the cloud cover, we stay a little bit cooler this afternoon as well. You see it on radar, that big spinning area of low pressure out over the coast. And this is what's kept Highway 12 closed for several days along the Outer Banks. It's what's pushed a couple of houses out to sea as well. This will continue, but should start to relax today. As that low pressure moves a little more inland, the effect on the Outer Banks starts to get a little bit less, but our weather starts to take a little bit of a hit here in the Piedmont. So it does bring us those clouds today. I think most of us will end up staying dry, just a low stray shower chance this afternoon and this evening. But over the next few days, as that low comes around the Georgia, South Carolina coast, it will likely give us enough to produce some showers at times for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday too. And notice on Sunday and Saturday, we start to heat things back up a little bit more. So there will be an opportunity for a couple rumbles of thunder or maybe a couple thunderstorms. Rain-wise with this system, don't expect a whole lot. I think generally around a quarter to about half of an inch of rain by the time we're all said and done over the next few days. So just keep the umbrella within close reach, especially tomorrow and through the weekend. But today's not a bad day of weather. It's just a little more on the gray side by the afternoon. The clouds will hold our temperatures back to the upper 60s to around 70, and it'll be a windy day of weather too. Winds gusting upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour as we go into the afternoon. Overnight, cloudy skies will drop it back to around 60 with a few showers possible going into your Friday. Again, Friday is not going to be a washout day, but there will be some showers on and off at times. Just kind of a pesky weather setup for the next few days. We do start to warm it back up heading into the weekend, mid-70s on Saturday. We're back to the 80s on Sunday, and I do expect a little more sunshine to peek out on Sunday too. And then it's very summer-like heading into next week. Warm and muggy with afternoon thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
The kind of air you can cut with a knife, huh?
The air that you can wear.
I don't want to wear that.
They all sticking to you. You get too early for that, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
Do it every
short
year.
season.
Yes, exactly. Spring is
gonna-
always short.
I'm gonna try. You can wear shorts.
Oh, short season. I didn't know. I thought you said shelf season. I was like, what shelf season?
Okay, it's going to be one of those type of.
It's gonna be one of those days.
All right, let's get to our first conversation since we're already so chatty. Okay, so it's about staying calm under pressure. And this next story is definitely a pressure cooker that someone had to stay calm in.
Y'all, I do not know how he did this,
Me
but
neither.
listen to this. One guy had to stay calm recently as he landed a plane with no experience when the pilot couldn't. It's like a scene from a movie or something. Take a listen.
Yeah.
He gets directions from air traffic control.
I've got a serious situation here. My pilot has gone incoherent. I have no idea how to fly the airplane. Roger, what's your...
All right, so this was Tuesday afternoon. Officials never said what was wrong with the pilot, but thankfully the passenger was able to navigate things with the assistance of air traffic control. The passenger, whose name has not been released, said he just wanted to get home to his pregnant wife, so if that meant landing a plane, that's what he was going to do.
Well, did you hear even in the calm in his voice when he was like, I've got a serious situation? I'd be like, oh my gosh, the pilot. Help.
Right.
He said that, and I was like,
I've got a serious
right.
situation here.
Right.
So steady.
It'd be interesting to know what his occupation is, because I think that that's something that's trained. I think the normal response is to have a freak out.
I would like to think that I've played enough Microsoft Flight Simulator that if it came down to it, I could land the plane.
You think it's the same?
But would you stay calm?
I said I could land the plane. All right, let's just.
I didn't say I would calmly land the plane.
I said I would get it on the ground.
Right, right.
You know.
Do you guys remember that movie Airplane
Oh yes. Oh yes. We remember that.
with it was O.J.
I don't know.
Simpson and
was in that
Nelson. No.
Is that the not
It was an
Today Show?
incredible movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which one that was.
Leslie Nielsen. No.
Liam. No.
No,
not
Leslie. Okay, anyway. In this movie, the pilots are all sickened with food poisoning, right?
Yeah.
And nobody can fly the plane except for the one person they don't want to have fly the plane. And, he was pretending like he was calm at first. And then he had like little episodes of like crazy.
Freaking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then he ended up getting everybody safely on the ground. But it was a comedy. I would have literally been like out of my seat, like what? And there was a woman on the plane in this movie that was always like freaking out. That would have been me. Okay.
I gotta believe
Digress.
that we're all sitting here and I'm thinking, what would I do if somebody told me you gotta land a plane? And I'm thinking in my head right now, I would absolutely freak out. I can't do this. I've never done this. I don't know anything about flying a plane. But when you've got reality there, when this is real,
That in general. kicks
something
in,
just
yeah.
kind of clicks up here, and it's like, I got to do this. I got to save my life, and I got to save other people's lives as well. And I think your brain and your attitude just kind of goes into overdrive, and it's like, I can do this. I've got to do this.
I'll tell you, early on in my weather journey and weather career, the first time I was ever on air for a tornado warning. Same kind of thing happens, right? You've never done this before. You know the stuff,
But lives are at stake.
but lives are at stake, and you're on. And it's one of those things where it's real, and the adrenaline starts pumping, and you better get in there and you better do
Right.
it.
We were talking earlier, one of my secrets in life when there's something that seems scary or that I don't want to do, I picked this up from motivational speaker Mel Robbins.
Okay.
It's you just breathe, you count to yourself 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you do it. You don't have time to freak out. You don't have time to worry. You just act.
That's great.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a little self-boost. You're like, all right, here we go.
So, unrelated but somehow related, I preference it with that. Whenever my 4-year-old is having one of her little tizzies, I say, start the countdown, and she'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she knows the expectation by the time she gets to 1 is to cool
Does
it
she
off.
do that countdown as slow as possible?
Usually it's like 5, 4, 3. Yeah, and by the time she gets to 1, she's like, 1. And I'm
That's
like, are you
awesome.
calm?
And it
she's
works?
like, yes. Yeah, it does.
And
That's
mom is
neat.
standing there.
Exactly. But I feel like that is
It's
the same thing.
It's the
because
adult version, yeah.
Exactly. You're putting yourself in a space where you can handle the information that is being given to you, or the things, the challenges that are coming your way.
And it's like Ed said, there's a reality in front of you. You can choose to accept it and make it work, or just freak out and let your head go in a tizzy of your own.
I had no idea that I was actually doing something that other people have recommended. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like now I should write a book.
You should, absolutely. We would all read Tracy's book.
Would you? How, how to do this? Anyway, so let us know on the feed here, how do you stay calm in a situation, or what would you do in this situation? I am ill prepared today, and my phone is at my desk, which is on the other side.
You
Well,
did that
Carol
too. It
says-
must be the day to keep your phone at your desk because no phone.
It's this side of the table.
Well,
who's ill
let me fill
prepared.
you in. Carol says, where's Walker, Texas Ranger when you need him?
Oh yeah, that's
Where's
a-
Chuck
that
Norris
was a
when you
good
need it?
example of that.
Everyone else, we would love to hear your ways to stay calm. I'm always looking for like self-help things. So if you have any of that advice too, drop it in here. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
And I think that self-conversation with yourself, just a couple of seconds, it's like, I can do this, I've got to do this.
Right.
I've got to do it. You're telling your mind, do it. Just do it. And I think that's an incredible motivator there.
Yeah. So, unrelated but related.
For the second time.
On my mirror, I post daily affirmations.
Oh, yeah.
And so this week's is I can and I will. And so funny that you say that, because you're like, I can do this and I've got to do this. And that's kind of like my mentality, like going throughout the week, like I can do it and I will do it. And
Do you have a power color?
No.
Okay, so this is another affirmation thing that I love doing. You pick a color that you see everywhere in the world, and every time you see that color, you say your affirmation.
Oh.
And eventually your brain will be so triggered when you see that color that it will automatically believe that.
What's yours?
Yellow. So I picked it. It's like the ugliest yellow. It's like a legal pad yellow because it's everywhere in the workplace.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I first started out my career, my power color was yellow, and my affirmation was, you are capable and worthy of all your dreams coming true.
Oh, I love that. That's a good
Yeah.
one. That might be mine for next week.
Yeah, and so every time you see that power color, you do it for like a few months, and then it's second habit.
Wow.
Very cool.
Okay, I
Life
need to
interesting.
choose a power color.
Life coach Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I like
my
it.
power color would have to be something pastel, because normally I'm wearing something in a pastel color. Or I'm looking at Christian and he's wearing something in a pastel color.
Blue is probably mine.
Yeah, blue.
Yeah.
I got to go with purple. You know how much I
You
love my
do.
purple.
You do love
I love
purple.
lavender and I love purple. And when Tracy wears a purple dress, I was like, oh, you look so good. and I love. And we always tease each other. Well, that's the color of royalty.
We got to get you a purple suit.
Oh Lord, I don't know
Go
how.
back to the 80s.
Yeah, there you go.
Would you like a,
I saw like a
Platforms
lilac
and a
one on
cane with that?
Instagram yesterday.
he wants you to look like a PIMP?
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Getting ready for the disco. Yeah.
Yes. All right, players ball. Let's get to your headlines this morning, and then we have another conversation right after this. Attorney General Josh Stein will be in High Point today discussing the latest efforts to fight the opioid epidemic. City and county officials will join him to discuss a recent opioid settlement. High Point will receive a portion of a $26 billion settlement that the Attorney General helped to negotiate. To help combat overdose deaths, Guilford County health leaders are giving out free naloxone kits at locations in Greensboro and High Point. Each kit contains an alcohol swab and 2 doses of Narcan. If you have to use a dose, you should always call 911 immediately afterwards.
A man accused of killing a 20-year-old triad mother is set to appear in court this morning. Police arrested Jeremy Alexander in Georgia. Winston-Salem police say he's responsible for Bria Robinson's death last month. Officers say Alexander was arrested in Henry County, Georgia, and extradited back to North Carolina. He had multiple outstanding warrants, including one for violating a domestic violence protection order. A man suspected of breaking into cars at 2 High Point gyms is now in police custody. Police in Durham arrested Denzel Gooch on Monday. High Point police say he took keys from lockers at 2 Planet Fitness gyms, then got into cars in the parking lot to steal credit cards. Police say there were 13 warrants out for him between Guilford and Alamance counties. Early voting for the primary election ends this Saturday, and the election day is on Tuesday. In this election, you will only see candidates running in your registered political party and non-partied races like the mayor, as well as some measures left up to voters as a whole. From now until Saturday, you can register to vote and cast your ballot at early voting sites. One item on the ballot for Guilford County voters is the bond referendum for Guilford County schools. Leaders say the $1.7 billion would go towards rebuilding and repairing schools in the district.
Well, some people plan to vote yes. Others say they are not on board. Our ITN's McMillan spoke to people in the community on where they stand.
Well, when $1.7 billion are on the table, there's bound to be mixed reactions, especially when Guilford County schools received $300 million 2 years ago. The money has helped start construction on the rebuilding of 8 Guilford County schools. The district's website shows $25 million are contracted, while the remaining $275 million is untouched. What's being voted on during this primary election is phase 2. Some people living in the county plan to vote against it.
I think schools are very important. I think our teachers need to be paid better, but we also have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens to explain where the money has gone. And until that's done, I just can't support the bond.
Others think the district will be responsible with the funds and make upgrades to every school in the district. A 2019 study found Guilford County schools needs $2 billion in repairs.
We have our animal shelter that we just built that's in better condition than 90% of our schools.
And the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce says that making the necessary repairs to Guilford County schools could boost the economy. They say that businesses looking to move to the county often ask what our schools look like. But no matter how you plan to vote, remember that if this bond is approved, it will come with a 5-cent sales tax that will also be on this ballot on a separate item.
All right, let's get to our next conversation here. We want you to share your favorite graduation memories. We'll provide some background in just a bit, but go ahead and start typing. I just shared the question on the feed here. What is your favorite graduation or just a graduation memory of yours or someone else's? All right, so several students are, of course, making memories over the next few weekends. UNC Greensboro's graduation was held last weekend. North Carolina A&T State University holds theirs this Saturday.
Aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, all coming to cheer on the graduate. But for one mother-daughter duo, this spring is extra special. Yvonne Hall and her daughter Gabrielle are celebrating their graduations. Yeah, both of them. Yvonne graduated from UNCG last Saturday, and this Saturday, Gabriella is crossing the stage as well.
I love my mom. Like, she's my girl, she's my world. She has done so much for me, and the fact that we're graduating together is a huge accomplishment for the both of us.
There are really no words to describe it except for we are very humble and very grateful to God for just getting us to this point through these years of college.
Mom got her degree in integrated professional studies and is now eyeing grad school. Daughter got her bachelor's in sports science, is now on a job hunt. I feel like they're going to find a job fast. They're both so fun and personable. Those pictures were awesome.
That's great. What a cool story.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your favorite graduation memory, or at least one that sticks out? Doesn't have to necessarily be your favorite one. I almost missed mine because of my brother.
Well, we need to hear that story
Oh,
first.
that's a story.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, so my parents sent him up to school before them just to make sure that I was ready and I was getting there on time. And then he decided he wanted to stop by the store and the gas station and all this other stuff. And this was my high school graduation I'm thinking of. And literally, like, everybody was in line and we're like pulling up. And of course, my brother, who's like a music guy, he's just like, has the bass booming and boom, 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 boom. Everybody turns around like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I run out and I get in line. And
It was the Tracy entrance parade.
no, it definitely wasn't. But I I got there and I got in line and everything was fine, but it was just still like the rush of like, oh my gosh, if I miss my graduation, I may never forgive you for this. But he's like, see, everything worked out.
Everything was fine.
Don't sweat it.
Don't sweat. It's cool. It's cool. So, but that's not my favorite memory. It's just one that sticks out.
I just want to say how much I appreciate all the family members out there that go to these things.
Yeah.
It is so great for that 15 seconds you see your loved one cross the stage, and then you got all those other names of people you don't know. And I think it's awesome that people support each other and still go
Yeah.
to these ceremonies that sometimes go on and on and on.
Yeah, it's certainly been unique the last few years because of COVID. Things were virtual, so I got to see some graduations that I wouldn't have been able to fly out for, which was really neat. But in terms of like those moments, it's kind of like you think it's I'm going to remember this forever. And then I just wrote in the comments, I'm like, I don't even remember who my commencement speaker was. Do you?
I don't either.
I remember
Okay,
Laura
good.
Bush.
I don't.
Laura Bush, I remember that.
Oh, okay, well, she's notable, so you probably wouldn't have forgotten that.
I remember at
Was it good? I'm sure it was.
Oh, she's very motivating.
Yeah.
My school just got in the Bush Library, and so it was all part of that.
Texas? Oh,
yeah. SMU.
It's cool. I remember at App, we had such a big school, they would graduate everybody in departments, So I graduated with the Fine and Applied Arts School because broadcasting was in that school. And so they had different commencement speakers, and ours was John Carter, who's a longtime morning anchor down in Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
And I immediately thought, hey, this is going to be good, it's going to be cool. And I just remember he had a quote, and I think he was actually quoting someone else. He said, there are three kinds of people. He said, people who watch things happen, people who make things happen, and people who wonder, what happened?
That's awesome.
So
I love that.
So I always remember that quote. Always remember that quote. And he said, which one of those people do you want to be? And as you all know, but kind of a little bit of inside knowledge here, this is very much an industry where you have to be on top of it all the time, and you have to go get it, and you have to fight for it, and really want and really have the passion if you're going to make it in this business. And so I remember that, and that was always very motivating to me. And I went up and talked to him after after that was over, and to this day I still talk to him after met him at that commencement speech. We had a event for the college radio station a couple weeks ago back in Boone, and he was there because he was also an alumni of that. So we got to catch up and talk with that, and I always remember that speech and that quote from that.
That's awesome. And so when you go back to deliver a commencement speech at App,
There you go.
you can remember this experience and use that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do have one more graduation memory.
Okay.
The song "Everybody Wear Sunscreen." What is the Baz Luhrmann?
You lost me.
Yeah,
Oh,
got
Lost,
me.
bro. Sing it
Play
for
it
us.
for you. It's a graduation speech. It was like a big hit in the 90s. And it was like, if I have one piece of advice for you, it's wear sunscreen. It has long-term proven benefits. I'm going to find a YouTube clip for you.
Okay. While you're searching, because now I have to see it. Ed Matthews, you graduated like 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm going to go back to high school.
Okay,
Yeah, way
that's
back.
very good.
1978, Lee County Senior High. Of course, I knew that I wanted to study meteorology and be a meteorologist when I was about 8 or 10 years old. So, I've always loved the weather. And our graduation commencement was held out at the football field, and they had all the chairs out and the stage and all that. And of course, I wasn't paying attention to whoever was speaking. I was looking at the sky. It was June. What do we have in June in the afternoon? Thunderstorms. It's like, man, look at those cumulus clouds. They're getting bigger and bigger and darker. Well, the next thing you know, I heard thunder. Well, it completely interrupted the whole ceremony. And right in the middle of it, I was able to get up and get my diploma, and they could announce my name, but not everybody did. We had about 550 graduates in my high school, because at that time Lee County only had one high school. And so it started lightning and all that stuff, and it's like, man, I don't really think we should be here. I'm thinking this to myself, and then eventually everybody started running in all different directions with this incredible downpour.
Oh, wow.
And those gowns are not expensive. Let's face it, they're cheap, okay?
They're expensive, but they're not.
Well, they're expensive, but they're cheaply made.
But they're cheap.
Right, yeah.
Well, our school colors are
Please
yellow.
don't say white. Don't say white.
No, yellow and blue. And of course, had the blue gown on, and it got wet, and my body was blue because the ink, the dye. The dye was all over me. It was a mess, but it was a very memorable, situation.
Let me tell you.
Now, for college, I got to say, really uneventful. After 4 years of college and math and science, I was so ready to get out of there.
Okay.
So me and some friends went to the beach. I got my diploma and I got off of that campus.
Let me tell you, 30 minutes ago, we knew we were going to talk about this, and we were all in a corner, and I was like, what's everyone's graduation memories? And Ed's like, I don't really have one. You were a Smurf.
What?
You became a Smurf from this college gown.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I didn't think about it that way then, but you're absolutely right.
It was short.
It wasn't easy to come out either. It wasn't easy. You know, a long shower with bubbles, you know, to get that ink out. But, you know, it seems like at the time it wasn't funny, but now you look back on it, you know, 60 years ago, not that long.
What a great
memory.
But,
you know, it is a pretty incredible memory. And just seeing, you know, hundreds and hundreds of parents and friends and all the students running in all directions trying to get to a dry place and a safe place. Because that lightning, it's like, I don't know who's speaking, but boy, I'm loving this lightning show.
Everybody was seeking shelter, and Abe was standing up looking at it in the sky.
Beautiful cumulus clouds.
You're already practicing your craft.
That's it.
All right, we're looking at the comments here now that I have my phone. Thank you, Jessica Rule. Joanne said, to see my granddaughter Hannah graduate from Liberty University in nursing. That was her memory that she's sharing. Philip Walker said, my nephew Jalen graduated from Salisbury High School May 28th, 2022. So that's coming up.
Cool.
Also, Philip Walker, it was snowing at his high school graduation.
Oh.
Wow.
Ooh, in Detroit. Could you imagine?
No, I can't imagine. Let's see. Rhonda said, watching our daughter graduate from North Carolina A&T in 2017 and hearing Layla Ali speak as the commencement speaker.
I would love to hear her.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, some people have some great commencement speakers. I think ours was like someone from the state's transportation something. I'm like, okay. I just remember, I mean, selfies weren't like a thing in like early 2000. It just wasn't happening, like, because we still had flip phones then and people were just starting to text. So we didn't have like the whole
Back
selfie
when you had
thing.
to press one button 4 times to get the D.
Probably. So we had like, you know, the CVS, you know, instant phone, instant cameras were big back then, you know, and then, you know, we had to turn around in our seats and actually like have someone take our picture. So that's what we did, like literally the whole speech was get people to take pictures, and we would take pictures of other people because we had to bother other people around us because we couldn't just turn the phone around and go like this.
I remember, you know,
Technology.
they always told you because there were so many people graduating. They said, don't stop, don't talk to people, get your thing and move on. And I thankfully had been able to garner a pretty good relationship with the chancellor at App State. I had him on our radio show a couple times and actually got to be pretty good friends with him. And they said, whatever you do, don't stop. The chancellor does not have time to talk to you.
And you stopped.
I went up there and I hugged Chancellor Peacock, right? And we had a bro moment for a minute, and it was great. And the whole line was like, the lady was like, you go. And I was like, this is
That's
one time in my
great.
life, lady. Hold on.
And so now producers who are watching this in our newsroom right now, they can be like, oh, that's where he gets it
All
from.
right. Ed, can you do weather now?
No, they're always like, 10 seconds, Christian. Christian's like, nah.
30.
It's actually 30. They say 10 and you hear 30.
Yeah, why go fast when you can go slow?
Was that a snort?
No, it wasn't.
I think it was.
That's what you get for making fun of me.
Oh, again.
No, I had a hiccup. It's like, yeah. Anyway, all right, so the forecast.
Yeah, let's get on to the 7-day here. Clouds rolling in real quickly here in the Piedmont. Although the shower chances are going to be low today, there may be a pop-up shower in the afternoon, but the off and on shower chances really ramp up late tonight and through the day tomorrow, and they're going to stick around through the weekend. thunderstorm chances really not that high. We'll have a little better chance on Sunday because we warm back up. Upper 60s to near 70 today, and tomorrow mid 70s on Saturday. And then with that daytime heating on Sunday, a few storms mainly afternoon. Now it's not going to rain every minute of the day or night through the weekend, so maybe you can get at least a few minutes outdoors from time to time. And then the trend will be for the rain chances to kind of lower significantly early next week. But since we're going to be in the low and mid 80s, we'll probably see a pop-up storm or two Monday through Wednesday.
And do not wear that graduation gown outside.
No. I
Not
wonder
the
what
weather
happened
for
to
it.
that thing. I think it went in the trash really pretty quickly after graduation.
My mom called me the other day. She's like, "Do you want me to keep all this mess?"
No.
All this mess.
That's literally what she called
All
it.
this
She's like,
garbage.
"I found it in my basement. Do you want it? If you need it, come get it."
You're like, I'm kind of in North Carolina. All right, well, we'll expect that shipment to arrive any day now. All right, thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. Great conversations. Tomorrow is Friday, folks. You know, we get rowdy on
Big round of
Friday.
applause.
We'll try to wrangle ourselves in
No, we
tomorrow.
won't.
We'll see you later. Take care.
Bye, guys.